to Northwest City Politics in the Know with Juanita. We're glad that you're joining us again this evening. We're always happy for people like you that are interested in what's happening in our cities. Because it is important for good government that there be a good flow of information between the people that live in the city, the people that are on the city councils, the mayor, and the city staff. So we're glad that you're interested in what's happening in all of the 9 cities in CCX's viewing area. If you haven't watched our show before, each week we'll have someone on from one of the 9 cities that will be telling about what are the current top issues that they're working on, what are some of the future things that are going to be happening, so you'll know what's coming up in your city and in the other cities in our area. And then from time to time we'll have shows like we're going to do tonight. Tonight we're going to have a show about the city's comprehensive plan, and then have several people from several of our cities give us their opinion and what their city is doing on it. The comprehensive plan that cities need to do is under the Metropolitan Council. Every 10 years they need to update the comprehensive plan that they put together, and it is a rather lengthy endeavor. It covers a lot of different issues and says what the city is planning to do, and then it's used as part of their development and redevelopment areas as they're moving forward. Now, some of the areas that are covered in the comprehensive plan might be ones that you'd be interested in putting in your ideas and your thoughts on an area. Some of the things that they do are land use, the housing that's in the city, things about transportation, the parks and trails, the recreation and open spaces, the surface water, the water supply, and the sanitary sewer system. These are all areas that are under the Metropolitan Council, and that our cities need to say, okay, where are we at in dealing this? What are the next things that we want to do? And it is a process that takes quite a bit of time. It probably takes the better part of a year as they're putting together all the details that need to go into place. But what we're emphasizing for you tonight is that they do need to have input from citizens. They need to hear from you if any of these areas are ones that are particularly important to you. So we'll ask you if, when you have the opportunity, there'll be meetings for input in each of the cities, or there'll be opportunities to give input on surveys and to bring your information forward. So we hope that you'll be part of the process, and we hope that you'll get some information that'll help you think about this area. Now we'll start with our first guest. Cities. What are the steps that Plymouth's following as you go about updating your plan?
Okay. Well, the plan is due to the Met Council in 2018, and so we've started to review our existing plan and look at where changes need to be made, especially in a city like Plymouth where we're still expanding and we're still growing and seeing a lot of growth. Changes need to happen.
Of course.
It's really a regional planning document. So as we're growing, things are changing rapidly. So in addition to beginning with kind of a review of the plan and where we're at, we're hosting some open houses to make sure we get public input. Then the plan will be presented to the Planning Commission, where again people can come in and provide some input, and then it'll ultimately go to the City Council for final approval, again with more public input, and then it would be submitted to the Met Council. And so our staff is really going through chapter by chapter and looking at the regional planning, whether it's infrastructure and residential and commercial building and sewers and transit. All of that really leads into the full regional planning document. So and the reason the Met Council requires that from each city is so that we kind of each city isn't completely different and kind of in a closed facility where we can kind of flow into one another and share resources.
Yeah, because once you get your plan put together, then you do have to, by law, share it with all the communities that are on your borders, right?
Yes, and they have the ability to comment on that, and we have the ability to comment on theirs too. So it really gives an opportunity for some continuity in amongst cities, and to really kind of, each city is unique, but to kind of level the playing field somewhat, so that residents can kind of seamlessly go through whether, going from one community to for a business or
Right.
medical services or anything. Really to make sure that there's some regional planning going on for consistency.
Yeah, that's important. And then the plan is not due till the end of 2018, right?
Correct. Yep.
So probably the best place for people to follow what's happening is on your website?
Yes, you can access the plan. You can look at some new chapters that are being added to and changed, and there's many opportunities to comment,
Right.
whether you're attending an open house or a city meeting or just sending a letter to staff. We certainly value input.
But maybe you can talk a little bit about the Met Council and what they require, and then a brief thing about what is this comprehensive plan thing that you see about in the newspapers
Right.
once in a while.
Right. Well, and I appreciate you bringing it up because it really is a guiding document. Some people say, well, do you have a mission statement?
Right.
Do you have a vision statement? Yes, this is
That's
it.
right.
In a sense. I mean, this is it's a good planning document to make sure Golden Valley doesn't do something that's going to put New Hope at risk, or
Right.
Crystal, or our neighbors to our south. Or vice versa. It's
Right.
really to make sure that we have really good coordinated plans, so that we can have productive growth and and of course maintain public safety
Right.
and maintain good environmental standards. So every 10 years, by
Okay.
state law,
Right.
all the cities in the metro area have to do this comprehensive plan. And so the way I basically say to people is this is like a 10-year strategic plan.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Right, so we're doing that, but of course they allow you to go out further, so we're doing basically a strategic plan emphasizing the next 10 years, but we're looking all the way out to 2040 as well. So we do call it the 2040
Okay.
comp plan. So that's what we're working on.
Okay, and then Golden Valley has certain priorities that you're trying to meet as you're working on the plan, and I think there's 5 of them.
Well, right,
And you were
yeah.
gonna let people
I'm
know what they
looking at it
were.
right here just to make sure, because
Right.
I mean this is not a short document.
No,
I mean
no.
we're talking about a multi-hundred page
Many
document,
page, right.
where you break it down into different areas.
That's why I thought we'd just talk about the priorities.
Right, exactly, with the priorities. And so what we're doing, and this is based on feedback that we've gotten from residents, but direction from city staff, and so we're focusing, we want to make sure that the plan supports the emergence of a dynamic town center, that we are showcasing Golden Valley as a green community.
Right.
We're trying to emphasize all aspects of a multimodal transportation system as we hopefully prepare
Right.
for a light rail station in Golden Valley. And in general, we're just striving to be more inclusive for all people of all backgrounds to come to Golden Valley. But I would say probably our highest priority is, I mean, it's a typical city function, but it's an
Right.
important city function, is our infrastructure.
Oh, yes.
And that could be our roads, that could be what's above ground, but also what's below ground in terms of our
right.
water sewer systems.
Right.
So those are the goals, those are the 5 areas that we're trying to accomplish.
Now, I think Golden Valley has already done a lot of community engagement on this process, because you started in March. Maybe you can tell a little bit about some of the areas that you already got input from, because I think since March you did one on land use, one on housing, one on sustainability, and one on water resources.
That's right.
Maybe just a brief little bit about each one.
Right. Well, I'll kind of combine them all, because
That's fine.
I would say that we've had open houses, we've had some really good feedback from residents, not only at the open house, but we've also had the ability for people to chime in by the internet.
Right.
And then also we did a community survey last year. So we've been able to get some excellent feedback from residents on all those areas. And I'd say in general, I'd say there's probably been more popularity around the environment. I think housing maybe is a distant second, and then the land use would probably come in after that. And I have not seen the results yet on the water resources piece. We're still waiting on that. But I think the feedback is on the housing, people do like the diversity of housing, but they want more townhomes. Apartments, good. Single family homes, check, we're there. but on townhomes, they want to see more of that. And that's, I think, more for senior citizens who are looking to downsize.
Right.
And the profile, the demographics do show, not just in Golden Valley,
Yeah.
but all across Minnesota. And this is not a bad thing. I think this is a good
Yeah.
thing. We are an aging community.
Oh, yes.
And so you have seniors who want to stay in Golden Valley but downsize.
Right.
So townhomes. On the environmental front, it's more about being sustainable. It's making sure that we are environmentally resilient. So it varies. It runs the gamut from how can we be more, how can we access and utilize more renewable energy? And some of this we've already started.
Oh, right, right.
Some of our city facilities already have solar panels on them. In fact, I can't remember if it's our public safety building or if it's our maintenance building, but the solar energy that we've been able to capture is basically we're running 100% on those solar panels for that particular building. So some of this we've already done, but what we're hearing from residents is keep going.
Okay.
And keep going further if you can.
Now, you've got some meetings that are coming up, so I thought we'd highlight them so that people in Golden Valley can maybe put them on their calendar. I've got that now the meetings for input just last like an hour and a half, right?
Correct.
From 6 to 7:30, so it's not a huge chunk of people's time, but you need people to come.
Right.
Right.
And the way we structure it is you can come for the open house to get the information.
Right.
Absorb it, think about it, and then after that we have our planning commission, or it might be our environmental commission, depending on what the issue is, then take that testimony.
Right.
And so I know you've got the dates right
so I've
there.
got some dates, and so you want people to show up here.
Yes.
And it's up at City Hall. But on July 10th, you'll be dealing with transportation, I've got. And then on August 7th, on park in your nature areas, which are important to a lot of people. And on September 11th, economic competitiveness.
That's correct.
So that those are areas, if they're ones where people think, oh yeah, I'm really interested in X, and if it's under that category, that's a place and time to show up.
Yes, please. And for some reason, if you can't come to that, that's where, again, you can go online and you can fill out the survey that is online available to give us that feedback, or simply just email us.
Sure.
Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Drop on by City Hall and let us know how you feel.
Right.
We'll take your comments anyway.
Okay, then to kind of culminate all of this, you're going to have a comprehensive plan update and open house on Monday, September 19th. What's going to happen at that meeting?
Well, at that point, we're going to kind of roll out, I would say, kind of a draft plan. Where we will be able, and we'll have these different sections. We'll have the transportation, we'll have land use, we'll have resiliency, we'll have
all the ones we talked about.
Exactly.
Right.
In different sections.
Okay.
And get, again, more feedback. I think at the end of this process, our hope is for people to say, come on already, you've asked us this, these questions so many times, and we've already given you the feedback, we're good.
Yeah. We like what you've got.
Exactly. So at that, it's like a puzzle. And so at the September 19th open house, I think people will be able to see those different pieces of the puzzle all come together. And what does that look like?
Oh, right.
And how do they fit together? And is it fitting the right way that we want it to? So that's what we're hoping to accomplish at that open house.
And so that, when is the comprehensive plan due to the Met Council? When do you have to have it finished?
About basically next year.
Okay.
And we're not talking January 1st,
Right,
2018. No, we're talking
During
more like
the year,
mid-year, because this is our 10 to 20 year strategic plan. We want to make sure we have it right. So
With
I wouldn't be
lots of
surprised.
input.
Yes. So there'll be more to come.
And then if people are following this process, I was just going to mention, since I was on your website, that they can get email updates on all these things that we've mentioned. Just
That is correct.
go into your website, sign up, and then you'll be reminded when they're going to happen.
Thank you.
Yep. You could tell us briefly about some of the areas that New Hope is looking at to update for that comprehensive plan.
So what we do is we have the community development guys
Okay.
go out and target areas that they think need to be developed.
Okay.
Not that we're going to buy them, not that we're going to take them. We can't take them with like we used to.
Right.
You know, you just can't do that anymore. But they're in the plan that says, if we have a chance, let's take this apartment building and change it into something else.
Okay.
So that goes into the comprehensive plan. A lot of the stuff is there every single year.
Right.
We will do the roads, we will make sure the water's clean, you know, all that kind of stuff. Typically when they do this, they take the census from 10.
Okay.
And why it takes so long is totally beyond me, but that census gets done in 10, and then it has to go somewhere, and then it goes, and then it goes, and then, so finally we get the thing back from the Met Council that says, we think this is your census, and this is how it's broke down.
Right.
And so we get that information back, and then they give us a year and a half to 2 years to do this, this comp plan. So we identify what we think needs to be done. When we did the comp plan at 10, one of the things we indicated was we needed a new police and city hall.
Right.
That was back in 10 when we
Right.
were, in 08 actually, when we did the last one. Did it happen? No, and we'll talk about that later. But it was in the plan. We knew that was coming.
Right.
We also put in that plan like our parks. Every other year we do a park. It's in the comprehensive plan that we will do that. And we look at the park that's got the oldest park equipment. If the equipment's good, we do nothing. But right now they've done Fred Sims Park. That park had been there, that equipment's at 92. Wasn't real safe. After 25 years, it's probably time to replace that.
Right.
So those kinds of things are in the comprehensive plan. And they do that because when you're right next to a city, and like Crystal, you know, we're a lot of the things that we do, we might be surrounded by Crystal. We want to make sure that the Crystal knows that that's in our comprehensive plan.
Oh, right, and that's part of the process.
Yeah.
Each city that is bounded by New Hope, on New Hope's boundaries, you have to share your plan with them.
And they have to share theirs with us.
Right, vice
And
versa.
so we look at those plans. We don't want a 40-story building right on 62nd Avenue in Brooklyn Park. And if that was in their comprehensive plan, we'd probably say, no, thank you, we don't want that there. So we share it with each other in all the surrounding cities. And then there's the things that go through all the cities, the water pipes coming in.
Oh, yeah.
The waste pipes going out. Those kinds of things are in the comp plan. So we get a group of people together. Some of them are just residents.
Okay.
A lot of them are people that are from our staff because the community development guys, they know what's going on. They need to be on that team. We bring a guy in that helps us go through the process to do this. He actually looks at each thing and says, I think you could leave section 2 and 3 and 4. Let's look at section 5. And so then we go over that and we make changes to that. And once that gets all done, it goes off to the Met Council, who then sends it off to the cities, who then look at it and bring it back, make the changes, back out to them. Yep, those changes are what you said. In the meantime, we're looking at theirs and doing the same kind of thing. And then once it's all done in 18, it just becomes part of, and everybody gets a copy. Well, the cities get a copy, but we have copies of other cities' comprehensive plans too. And if we need to remind them that they said they were going to not do that, we don't necessarily hold them to doing that because a lot of
things can change.
It's a plan. It's a 10-year plan, and it's kind of where you want to go. You may not get there, but it's where you wanted to go, and you have to have a plan.
And it's because the New Hope hires a consultant to help, right?
Yes, we do.
And some of the bigger cities do it themselves, but a lot of them do.
Most of the bigger cities hire somebody. It's the smaller cities that have the problem because they don't really know all the stuff that has to be done. And so they'll go to a consultant and have them help them a little bit. The bigger cities, they get help too because you have a staff and your staff runs the city day to day.
And they're working hard,
Yeah, they don't necessarily have time to look at this plan. Or you don't always have a person that's been doing this job for 20 years. So the consultant we bring in has been doing it for 20 years. He's been through a few of these plans. It's not the first time around the block. So he knows.
And this gives a good basis for how you might approach the future.
Yep.
Now, what kind of input do residents have, or how can they learn about what's in the current comprehensive plan?
Well, they can always go to City Hall
Okay.
and look at it.
Right.
We don't necessarily let it go out just because it's a big book.
Okay.
And it may not come back.
Right.
So they can go there and look if they want to. They can always call the Community Development Department and ask about something.
Okay.
What's your plan on the ash borer?
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan for the trees removal? That's in the comprehensive plan.
And this is a good place for people to go if they're looking to buy and sell.
Yes.
Of what's around them and what might be coming.
Yep. So, and that's always available. They
Uh-huh.
they should call the Community Development
Right.
Department, and they'll have that book available, and they will help them find the section they want. When I say it's a big book, it's a big book.
Right.
And we want to help our citizens be as happy as they
Right.
can be. And so these guys will help them find the section they want. They say, well, is my block up for redevelopment? Well, it might have been considered.
Uh-huh.
Are we developing it? We don't know.
Right.
You know?
And so it's a plan, but if you make changes in it, then you need to bring those changes to the Metropolitan Council.
Yes, you can't change your comp plan necessarily. I mean, it's there.
I mean, you change it if you need to, but it has to go through them.
Yep, it has to go through that whole process again.
And we'll put up Jeff Sargent as your community development director. We'll put up his phone number, because if somebody's got any questions about this,
Call
he would
Jeff.
be the person
He
to
would be
talk
the one.
to, right?
Yep.
Now, all of our cities are involved in a process dealing with comprehensive plans for their city. And a lot of people out there might not have any idea what they're about. And it's a somewhat intricate process, but all the cities do it every 10 years. And it's under the Metropolitan Council. So I thought we could talk a little bit about this whole process. Because now, when does Crystal have to have their plan into the Met Council?
Next year, 2018,
right.
will be submitted, middle of the year, we understand.
Is it due in 18 or is it due 2020? Or I don't know.
Well, I think the whole process has to be completed by 2020. 'Cause
Yeah.
Right,
once
but we
they
start
get it,
in
they have to
preliminary,
analyze it, and
yeah.
then they have to talk to other cities. And
Yeah, in my notes, it said, your question
Right.
was, when does the next update need to be submitted and approved? And Ann Norris, our city manager, she helped us a little with our
Right.
notes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Ann. In mid-2018, she
Right.
said. So things are probably then going through the system to be ready by 2020.
Right, yeah, so
to
that everything
implement.
is up to that
that
point
must
in
be
time.
where it's the.
Now, a lot of different areas are involved in that comprehensive plan. Maybe you can mention some of the areas where Crystal gets involved. Now, I've got a listing of them, because how your land is used, how your housing, how dense it's going to be or not, transportation, parks, trails, your recreation, water, sewer, sanitary, so lots of
The
areas
whole
are involved.
system, the
So
whole
it
system.
does make sure that cities are looking to the future.
Correct.
But which areas do you think are most important for Crystal?
I think the park and recreation.
The park master plan.
The park master plan
Ah.
is huge this year. We have 27 parks, and I know we're going
Right,
to get into that
right,
later.
Yeah, we'll talk about
but
that all by itself. Great.
the parks have been, sadly, because of budget constraints
Oh,
during
right,
the economy when
right.
things took a downturn, it was all we could do to maintain what we had. Well, now things have been looking better, and
Right.
these parks are now, some are at the stage where
Uh-huh.
we need things done now. So we had John Elmholm, who was hired and started last year. Gene
Right.
Hackett had retired.
Uh-huh.
John Elmholm is our new recreation director.
Ah.
I served on the Park and Rec
Oh,
Commission,
right,
so
right.
I was involved with all of that as well. John brought it up with the group, we should do a master plan, and we were all thrilled about that. So
So
they
that
hired
dovetails right into this whole process.
Exactly, so
right?
that's going to dovetail right into the
Right.
comprehensive plan. So you're going to see some real exciting modernizing
Mm-hmm.
facilities now, programs for things that are more popular, such as soccer and lacrosse,
right,
and,
right.
and playground upgrades, things like that. So maybe potentially some water what is that?
Is there any senior playground equipment you're
That's, I really hope so, because Kavanaugh Park is nearby.
Right.
Bassett Creek, we have a lot of senior apartments right nearby. And so, yeah, they are looking at that. Because at any age can play on those.
Yeah,
They're
cover
great.
the whole
Kids can-
area, right.
And we have some of the more modern pieces already coming out. For instance, those swings. They're where the mother or parent is with the little one and they're facing each other. It's interactive and
cool.
we have one or two going up. One's at Bassett Creek right now.
Okay.
So that's dovetailing into it. We're also working on the water supply with the Joint Water Commission. That's a huge thing because we all know the horrible things that happened when that water main broke in Robbinsdale.
Definitely.
And other systems are starting to fail as well. So that's more of a planning, not a planning, but a public works thing.
Right.
But with the Joint Water Commission cities, we need to work on the water supply.
Oh, right.
That's huge.
Right. And
Making
that's
sure
part
that
of
we're
the
all covered.
long-term planning.
Correct.
Right. Now, where is Crystal in the process? Because every city is at a different place in where they're at in going through this process.
We haven't started yet. Correct, for comprehensive plan?
Right.
That's going to start this fall, and thank you again, Anne, for your notes, because we're fully developed, our process won't start until later this year.
Oh, right.
And then 10 years ago, and this was long before Julie was on as well. So this whole council is brand new to this plan.
Right. Yeah.
But I read online on our website, the current plan is up there for everyone to read, which is great. But they explained a bit of the process. And there were about 27 citizens involved.
Right.
So we take input from everyone. I was thrilled to see that. And I imagine that will happen again
Yeah,
next year.
it sounds like that there's going to be some announcements coming out.
Yeah, and
asking
if people
for
are
input.
concerned about what's happening with the city, they can go to your website and go through a fairly
They can
extensive,
find out most
many-page
everything,
plan
right.
covering all those areas that we talked about.
Exactly. And the plan, like I said, the current one is up there. You can download
Right.
it as a PDF and read through it. So, yeah, that's what I know about that one.
Me too.
and then part of it too is once you get your plan together, then the cities that border you have to look at it. So
Yes, we all
it's
review
a
and-
very comprehensive process. So the word fits the process that where everybody kind of looks at things, makes projections, maybe changes things. Then the other part of the comprehensive plan is when you're going to do some development in your city, then you have to fit that plan or tell why you need to make a change.
Correct. And also, one last note here. Anne wrote that law requires our contiguous neighbors to receive our comp plan for review and comment.
Right.
So it's by law. So we not only work cooperatively
Right.
with them, but by law we need
Oh,
to
right.
see
And then
what each other's doing.
who in your city will this be under? Do you know yet?
I believe it would be our community development director.
Okay. And their name is?
John Sutter.
Okay, so if any has questions about what this comprehensive plan is, John Sutter at the City Hall would be the
Yes.
best person to contact.
Yes.
Well, we want to thank all of the people from all the cities that gave us information tonight about what their city's comprehensive plan is undertaking and what are the issues that are important for them and how they're going about it. We hope that you learned something, and we hope that maybe it triggered a little curiosity in your mind about what your cities are doing. All of the cities would have their comprehensive plan available up at City Hall, but they also have it available on their website. It's probably, 150, 200 pages, but you can go to just put individual areas on it. We hope that you'll tune in next week for part 2 about our city's comprehensive plans. Thank you for being